every 29,500 years, there is a certain gust of galactic dense energy cloud that hits our planet as our entire solar system keeps advancing. All of you know that the earth rotates and revolves around the sun, and the sun is also moving. This is all part of the Milky Way, and the Milky Way is also progressing and moving along a path that is around the galactic sun. As per the Vedas, that central galactic sun, which is the center of the observable universe, is nothing but Vishnu Nabhi. Okay, that's what the term is, to explain the center of the universe. Now, as our Milky Way goes closer and away from the center of this galactic space, you'll see rise and fall of consciousness. Now, these are nothing but cycles. Just as we have cycles of day and night, you have cycles of tides rising and falling. Similarly, consciousness has experiences of awakening and divine amnesia. Awakening and divine amnesia, because you're never sleeping, you're just in this state where you've forgotten who you are. Alright? So now is the time point where the great awakening has begun. And this era starts in the period 2020 onwards. So therefore, the first 10 years of this century marked the rise of physical awareness. As we mentioned, there was a rise of yoga and nutrition. The next 10 years saw an ascension in terms of mental awareness, in terms of people understanding the power of thoughts, positive thinking, and now you'll see people talking about consciousness. And very soon you'll be in a period where there will be full disclosure, full awareness. Everybody will know their true identity. People will live in oneness, and that golden era is just about to commence. Now, when you say just about to commence, it could be several years. But y'all are at the helm of that period. And it's very exciting because y'all are getting to know about your own nature. So imagine being able to create with this understanding and awareness. These things are so real, and how it really applies in our daily life. Like, what if someone tells me I'm hearing all of this in this conference and I leave the room and then all of this doesn't make sense? Look, someone just cut my lane and my boss doesn't even reply to me and my colleague is so rude. Is there really an awakening? So let me give you a few statistics to prove that what's really happening. So firstly, like I mentioned yesterday, we are beings of light. We are governed by the sun and the sun's energy, right? Now, I told you about the scale of the sun and the earth and how the impact of this large body is on our small planet. If the sun was the size of a tennis ball, and if earth is only 2 mm in comparison, then its very high voltage is impacting us. This is very relevant in the context when I told you that the Great Awakening is imminent. This is a chart of CO2 concentration and Antarctic temperature for the last 800,000 years. Now you see the cycle of the temperatures rising and falling. As you understand, everything in this world is cyclical. If the cycles of the temperature show that we are at the highest peak right now, that means CO2 concentration is at its height and the temperature change is also at the highest point, you're going to experience global warming. Let's move ahead. Ice temperature changes for 450,000 years ago. Because of the ice caps melting, scientists are able to go deeper and they're able to find temperature changes vis-a-vis the temperature that was 450,000 years ago. The temperature change is at the point of 3 degrees, which is one of the highest. This is the ice volume. It's at an all-time low. So with the temperature rising, right, with the ice caps melting, we are going to see drastic climatic changes, which are going to be very real in our existence. Economic cycles. We have a lot of people here who have a finance background. You all must be aware of the Elliott wave framework where cycles are explained. Now, this was seen for the Dow Jones, which is one of the most widely covered indices in the United States. It projects a massive fall. This is not my opinion. This is out there in the media and it is open to dispute. But this is a second cycle that is expected to show a downtrend. Second cycle. Let's come to the third. I told you we are beings of light. This study shows you the trend of solar flares. Now, every 11 years, our sun spins around itself. Every time this happens, human conflict increases or decreases in the exact same way. And this is a trend from 1750 to 1800, and then from 1840 to 1920 by a gentleman, Alexander Chisvesky. He had done this study somewhere around the 1900s, and he proved that every time the sun and solar flares increase or decrease, human conflict in terms of wars, political battles, revolutions, riots were matching in tandem. Now comes the most important part. NASA prediction of solar cycles for 2020 onwards shows a maximum, basically a minimum fall, a maximum impact in human conflict, because it moves in exact tandem. And therefore, if I was to take a time series of all the factors I just spoke, solar cycle, human conflict, the ice caps, CO2 levels, all the environmental time series matched with HRV, our heart rate variability, which determines our levels of feeling conflicted or feeling coherent within ourselves. This shows an exact lag period of 10 sort of hours every time there's a change in our environmental series. So therefore, we're at a point in time where you're seeing maximum conflict in our country. You're seeing people fighting on the streets, you're seeing political people tear each other down, you're seeing scandals, you're seeing scams, all sorts of things are unearthing like never before. Levels of tolerance have been breached. So these are the times where the need of awakening is maximum. So if this is the period where all change happens and conflict is on the rise, the people, the individuals who choose to awaken at this point of time are going to be victorious. Others are going to languish. So when you hear of coronavirus in China, there will be parts and populations who may and can get wiped out. And there will be souls who are aware and awakened who will help others rise. So whichever way you take it, whether you consider yourself to be the one to lead another or for your own sake, I hope you'll take this need of awakening very, very seriously. Alright? Even if you go out on the street and you feel someone has cut your road, it's still relevant for you to stay awake, aware and conscious.